What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, managing editor of Fightful.com here. It is September 4th. We got Monday Night Raw to talk about. We will be talking about the Mae Young Classic tomorrow. But a little programming note for you guys. We have the UFC 215 post show this Saturday night. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson looking to make history. But the real programming note I wanted to inform you all of, we won't be going live right after SmackDown next Tuesday. It'll be after the Mae Young Classic finals that emanate from Las Vegas. We'll be going live right after those, covering SmackDown and the Mae Young Classic. So definitely tune in. Myself, I assume Anna and Jeff will be joining me there as well. We got Monday Night Raw to talk about. Joining me is associate editor Alex Pawlowski. Alex, was your day laborious?
Well, yeah, you know, it's Labor Day. My wife had off, so we were trying to get stuff done around the house. And then my daughter...
Too bad you're working Christmas and New Year too.
No, everyone is. We're all working Christmas and New Year's.
So let's talk about that right out of the gate. I've talked to a couple of wrestlers about that. Like, I think WWE put out that tweet. If you all didn't see the tweet earlier, it was almost like a surprise Christmas and New Year show. It wasn't a surprise to the talent, at least the ones that I spoke to. They've known about this for months. It's been on the schedule since, I think, February. Yeah. They're not really happy about it, but they've known about it for a while. It's not like they got this dropped on them via a tweet or anything. Originally, the show was supposed to take place in St. Louis. I don't know where the hell it's going to take place now. Don't know. I think they announced it, but not sure. I had to catch up on Raw, as I'll mention later, but there, yeah, not a lot of happiness in regards to working Christmas and New Year. But Alex, I get the feeling the same people who think it's okay to camp out at an airport at 5 a.m. when you've stalked out an itinerary think that this is super cool.
Well, yeah, because it doesn't affect them, you know. Like, a lot of people that I know are on Twitter like, well, whatever. Like, you know, it's the same thing. It's like the NBA plays Christmas Day games. Like, yeah, but those guys hate it too.
And like, they get, you know, that 5-6 month window off too. Yeah.
Yes, which these guys don't. I know that, like, these guys, you know, they're doing it. But the thing about it is, they're not just the wrestlers. Like, it's the production crew that doesn't get to be with their family on Christmas. I mean, that's a different thing. So, yeah, you know, and if you're not, I mean, even if you're working on Christmas, maybe you're also, you know, having your push ended because you had constructive dialogue about CTE with somebody, and there's that happens.
Yeah, that's what happened with Baron Corbin. So Baron Corbin stood up basically to Joseph Maroon and was like, hey, man, he basically, Baron Corbin played the role of Will Smith in Concussion. And from what I heard, the people that I spoke to, I spoke to the same people in regards to this Raw schedule thing. Now the people that I spoke to tonight weren't there for this meeting. It was a different, I guess a different meeting, but they said that he had, from what they had heard, he had gotten his point across rather eloquently, and it didn't seem like there was any heat on him initially. That wasn't the case.
Yeah. Yep. Well, yeah, you don't. Speaking truth to power is not the thing that will get you popular with the brass at the top of WWE.
Hey, guys, if you all want to submit questions for the show, head over to Fightful.com, go to our podcast page, join in our live discussion. That's where we're going to be answering questions from now on, there or the forums. We want to encourage you all to kick off topics in those forums. Wrestling, MMA, boxing, video games, sports, movies, TV, virtually anything you all want to talk about, we got it over there. As always, Fightful.com is evolving, and I'm going to try to keep these plugs at the beginning and the end of the show. I want to keep the flow going. And this show, I got to say, kept the flow going pretty well, Alex. I like this episode of Raw.
Yeah, this was a really solid episode of Raw. Good wrestling, and moved some programs along. Surprising. There were some surprising outcomes to things, which is always good in my book. So yeah, we're in a solid place. If we have a few more episodes before No Mercy, and No Mercy is basically being booked some of the matches at the top are being booked like they're WrestleMania matches. So I'm really looking forward to September 24th. And if we're going to keep doing this high level of Raws up until that point, I have no problem with them.
Hey, if they're going to put good cards on these shows that had fantastic video games, then I need a Here Comes the Pain pay-per-view. I need a WWE 13 pay-per-view. It doesn't have to make sense. They named one Great Balls of Fire, so whatever.
Yeah.
Just go back and do it. You can rename the pay-per-view SmackDown versus Raw 06 if that's what it takes. If that's what you got to do to get this kind of card, I'm all for it. But it's kind of quiet right now in the combat sports WWE world. We had this UFC 215 show Saturday, but it's not like, it ain't Conor McGregor or Ronda Rousey.
Right.
But next week there is that Triple G Canelo fight. So that little gap that we have there in big headline shows is about to be closed a little bit, and then we go right into No Mercy, which looks like it's going to be an awesome show. But let's get into this Monday Night Raw. I mentioned to you on Skype, Alex, booking Jason Jordan against John Cena, particularly in this style of matchup, I thought was very clever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's they even played up the fact that it kind of mirrored in a little bit Jason Jordan and Cena was kind of like Cena and Angle, and like, there was just like when Cena answered the call and went down to challenge Jason Jordan's dad. And every time they mention it that way, it always just makes you, okay, we're really doing this, aren't we? Like, can't he just be his protege? But he's got to be his son. But the match itself was excellent. It reminded me a lot of the golden age of the John Cena U.S. title open challenge. Like, it felt like that a lot. A young talent coming in and showing what they can do and really giving John Cena all he could handle before eventually losing. But one thing came out of this that I hope Jason Jordan uses it in every match, because I can't see it enough.
The Rolling Northern Lights.
Rolling Northern Lights was bad ass.
It looked awesome. A lot of people can't. I've seen people try. I've seen people far less talented than he try to do that, and they spike themselves.
Oh no!
They spike themselves, and it flips themselves over. I've seen a guy get knocked himself out with a Northern Lights suplex. But yeah, somebody just tweeted me and said that Christmas Raw is in Chicago. Yeah, it was originally scheduled for St. Louis Christmas and then Miami New Year's. I don't know how it's going now, because they have made some alterations if it's going to be on Christmas. But I love this Jason Jordan John Cena match. This was almost like a replay of the Cena Angle match from 15 years ago. Just roles reversed, and ironically, John Cena looks like the 2004 December version of himself, like he's just back from filming The Marine.
Yeah,
like he's going to a club and Jesus stabbed him in the kidney, and now he's going to start a feud with Carlito. That's the logical next step, I think.
Yes, just to get everything full circle.
Jordan working out of the STF into a crossface, I thought was big.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it wasn't as big when John Cena sat up, because that'll make any crossface look like trash. He should know better than that. But then Jordan welcomed him with those Northern Lights suplexes. Those were really cool. The crowd was white hot. Cena ended up pinning Jordan after an outstanding match. This is awesome chance for a Jason Jordan match is good. I don't care who he's in the ring with. That's a good sign right now, Alex.
Yeah, the thing will be whether he can carry it over to matches against somebody else. But this was great. This was a really good sign for him. If they can figure out how to give this kid a personality or something to do, that's not just be, Kurt Angle's quote unquote biological son and then nothing else, because that's really his only character trait at this point. I think he could be a really big star. He's got everything you want in the ring. I mean, he's the thing about those Northern Light suplexes, it's what he does with the belly-to-belly suplexes. He's able to throw the guy over his head completely without ever leaving his feet. Like, it's just he's supernaturally strong in with those suplexes. It's just amazing.
You don't have to do new moves to stand out. You can put a twist on it like this. Like, I mean, people have been doing German suplexes for years before those rolling German suplexes became a thing. Just add your own twist on it. That's what so many people are doing now to make themselves stand out, and I really like that. Afterwards, Roman Reigns comes out and says that it just took Cena 20 minutes to beat a rookie. Now, as compared to last week, I thought Roman Reigns he kept up with John Cena way better than last week. Way better than last week. Reigns says that Cena either strung Jordan along and crushed him or is lying about being as good as he says. And he calls Cena a fake-ass little bitch.
Yep. That's what he called him. Called him that.
John Cena does the thing that he's been doing lately where he makes a joke out of everything.
Yep. Points
out that Roman Reigns' zipper is down, and Roman Reigns, I didn't think he was going to be able to recover from that.
Yeah.
He did. You want to walk us through that one?
Yeah. One big point for Roman, and then one just awful thing.
Said his penis busted it out, y'all.
He said his penis busted it out. He says the big dog busted it, or something like that. I don't know what he said. But he's like, then Cena came with a good comeback. It's like, I was just looking for your balls, and I know she didn't have any. Which, okay, fine. And then Roman, of course, with the homophobic, yeah, you would. You would look at my balls. Like he's 14 years old. No, seriously, you don't need that crap. I know it was off the cuff, but it's just stupid. That's the thing about
when John Cena's in there literally trying to stifle Roman Reigns for the second straight week. You gotta get what you can get there. Do I agree with it? Nah. Does it bother me that much? Nah, not today. In the future, we gotta see Roman Reigns versus James Ellsworth, because if James Ellsworth doesn't come to the ring and say, I'm the big hog and this is my pin, I don't know what we're even doing here. You got a year left on his deal. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
Cena starts getting a lot more serious after these shots, though.
Yeah.
So I think they did what they needed to do. He put over Jason Jordan and The Miz, but says that he doesn't have respect for Roman Reigns. But this is a lot of what Cena is saying is basically the promos that have been used against John Cena for the last 8 years, Alex.
Yeah. It's an interesting catch-22 with this whole thing. I really enjoy it for the most part. When they get away from being these, sophomoric humor back and forth, when it's really actually them talking to each other and making pointed remarks, I'm down for it. It's odd, though, because Peter Rosenberg tweeted that if you're 10 years old right now, this Cena versus Reigns thing is your Hogan versus Warrior. And our own Jeff Hawkins says on Twitter that 10-year-olds don't care about, corporate politics. And this whole thing about, what's the whole thing is that part of it is for us. The older fans who grew up with all this stuff and now think we understand it, quote unquote. And we're waiting for them to just acknowledge all the things we know are true. But the 10-year-old's just like, Dad, why are Roman and John fighting? They're both good guys. And what do you say to them? You know what I mean? With Hogan and Warrior, it was just these two guys who wanted to see which one was better. This seems like it's more ruthless than that. And I don't have a 10-year-old boy to ask, but I'm wondering how honestly they feel about this. If they both love Roman and Cena, what do you, I don't know what a 10-year-old who's just in it for that, how they react to this whole thing.
Guys, if you don't mind, leave us a thumbs up on the video. Share it on social media. Would greatly appreciate it. Also, subscribe, iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube. All that cool stuff. Yeah, the thing with the Reigns and Cena, I don't think these 10-year-olds care about the reason either. I think they probably just see it as a big match. They hear the crowd go, oh, damn. And some of them will catch on. Some of them,
right?
When they're calling each other bitches and stuff and talking about their wieners, and hey, 10-year-olds can understand that. They know what that means by and large. So.
Yes. I'm wondering if fake ass little bitch will become this generation's suck it and get kids in trouble on recess.
Man, Suck It had some staying power. It's still going strong.
Yep.
Reigns wants to fight. Cena doesn't.
Yeah, how'd you feel about that?
They part. I'm okay with that. After the way that Cena made Reigns look last week, I think that Reigns, I don't know if Reigns needs anything for the role that he's in and the type of reaction that he's going to get. Right. But, yeah, sure. I mean, that's the thing. Like, hey, say Reigns met John Cena in catering and said, let's throw down right now. My money's on Roman Reigns. And
sure,
like an actual fight between the two. We're talking about a 31, 32-year-old former NFL player working all the time against a 40-year-old John Cena, not the most coordinated dude in the world. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you know what? I can buy Roman Reigns as a dude that could just knock your lights out. I can do that. Sure. It's just before that, the whole thing was like, he was trying to be that super baby face, and they had him cutting these long promos. This is the longest promo he's cut in a very long time.
Yeah, the only thing about this I didn't like was that Cena's whole thing last week was, you can't beat me because you're not protected against me. And so I guess this whole thing is like, Cena had a perfectly valid excuse that he chose not to use, was, hey, that rookie I just wrestled, he was pretty good. And I wrestled for 20 minutes, and I'm not going to fight you right now. But at No Mercy, I'm going to put your lights out. That's all he needed to say, but like him saying nothing just did not look right for Cena.
So Reigns has to face Jason Jordan now, right? That's the logical next step.
That's the next step. And if Reigns doesn't beat him in like 4 minutes, then he's got nothing to say. So it's interesting.
Should they do like a beat the clock deal there, like where?
Yeah, they should.
They put up the length of Cena's match, and Reigns says that he can beat him earlier. I think that's a nice way to not necessarily put stake on the match. It's not worth a damn, but if Jason Jordan doesn't get beaten in that time, that makes Jason Jordan look pretty good too.
Yeah. It should be something along the lines of Jason Jordan requesting it of Kurt Angle, saying, he called me a rookie. He said that he should have beat me in 5 minutes. I want Roman Reigns. I want to prove what I can do. And Angle say, okay. And then that becomes this thing of, this. But I'm totally down for a continuation of this little theme.
And, I mean, the thing was with Jason Jordan, a lot of people were rejecting him because that's just the way it happens a lot. Like, people like the idea of things happening. And then once it's executed and you can see the machine gets behind this person, a lot of times that reaction kind of wanes. But, I mean, when you put him in there with Roman Reigns, who is like, it's a golden boy and the golden boy. Yeah. Jason Jordan's more like the copper boy. The like bronze, or like maybe whatever the Statue of Liberty is now, once it washes away and that green is left. And Roman Reigns is the golden boy. And I'm sure he'd get a great reaction out of a match with Roman Reigns as well.
Yeah.
Cesaro and Sheamus defeated Heath Slater and Rhino. Rollins and Ambrose are on commentary. I wish they would do this with more people. Like, even if they're not associated with the damn match, just, hey, keep them on. I think that Heath Slater and Rhino being on commentary at random points would be very entertaining. But I was glad to see these two guys on TV. I don't know why they were moved over, because I said last year the worst thing that happened to Heath Slater and Rhino was the emergence of James Ellsworth. Because when you put James Ellsworth next to everybody, it's hard to build an underdog. But he's not a babyface anymore. Either way, they got beaten pretty quickly. Nothing really wrong with that. The one line I liked on commentary was Ambrose saying that he's been punching Rollins in the face for years and he just got sick of it, so he decided to team with him. Yeah,
it's fine. I do feel bad for Slater and Rhino, though. Like that magical run they had as tag champs feels like 100 years ago. And I loved them. They even as recently as right before they came over from SmackDown. Like, they were one of the most over acts on SmackDown, both of them. And, they could be taken as seriously as Gallows and Anderson are, but they won't do that with them. Right now, they're basically the Ascension and that's not okay. They should be better than that. They're the first ever SmackDown tag champs.
They're very entertaining. Like, I have no doubts that no, it's not. Is it going to be a headline feud? Hell no. Heath Slater, Rhino, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows could do hilarious things together.
Oh, they'd be great.
They would be funny as hell. But that's just not the way we're going.
Nope.
Backstage crappenings. Jeff Hardy is interviewed by or backstage, and Matt is displaying broken tendencies per usual. We'll get to that later. Also backstage, Nia Jax tells Kurt Angle she should get a title shot. Emma says, according to her Twitter feed, nobody's talking about Nia Jax. Angle says they can team up, and if they win, they get added to the title match at No Mercy. I thought this was an awesome way to add stakes to a random tag team match on Raw, Alex.
Yeah, it was announced before Raw that Sasha Banks is getting her one-on-one rematch at No Mercy, and much of my Twitter feed was like, what was the angle at the end of Raw then? Where Nia Jax comes down and says, I'm going to be the champion next. And they addressed it, which is great, because sometimes they don't do that. But I love Kurt Angle just booking shit by the seat of his pants. Like, sure, you two guys are being a tag team, and if you beat them, then you're in the match at No Mercy. How about that? Like, I just love that that's Kurt Angle's style of booking shit on Raw. I love it.
Well, hey, I thought it was a good idea in kayfabe. I thought it was a good idea in execution and reality. Backstage, we see one of those really bad written backstage promos between Sasha and Alexa where they talk about having a team together. Sasha isn't good at these, but I will say this is probably the best one she's done, because we saw, like, when she originally had this character going, there was the whole Sasha's Ratchet deal.
Yeah.
She unveiled a little bit of that in this backstage promo, the most I've seen thus far, and that's what I want to see out of her personally.
The end, when she got up in Alexa's face and was like, "Have no mercy, I'm going to make you scream when I make you tap out," like right there. That was great. Yes, give me more of that, Sasha, even as a baby.
Clap when you talk, even. Just go full on. Yes.
Yeah, everything. I
will beat you.
Yes, I love this Sasha. Yes, the beginning of that part was bad because it was scripted. That last bit,
great
between her, that felt real, because as has been discussed ad nauseum, these two don't like each other. So the fact that they're allowing Sasha to dip into that and just use that as part of this character, I'm all in for it. And I also am interested in Alexa Bliss as the champ, who really doesn't want any of her major challengers. But it doesn't feel like the same old cowardly heel stuff, because she's legitimately smaller than everyone. Like, it looked like Sasha Banks had 6 inches on her. She might, but like Sasha Banks is small, and Alexa Bliss looked tiny. It was great. I really enjoy all of this.
Yep, I agree with you wholeheartedly. When that promo started, I was like, ugh. Then when it ended, I was like, okay, this could be something. This could do something. Yeah. Braun Strowman is the latest man to get ribbed into having to do the Super Troopers repeater game. That's what I just think they're doing there. Galacanook. Yeah. Can't wait for that sequel. Later on, the ref from the Strowman Big Show ring collapse puts both guys over. This was a nice touch.
Yeah,
this was This was a really, really good, and Strowman's really good at this. I'll talk more about it tonight. They had video packages and interviews, and the interviews sucked. Both of them did. Not the referee one. It was whatever. But they really built up this match that didn't mean a damn thing.
No.
And God, that crowd ate it up, and I ate it up, and it was.
I ate it up.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in the main event slot. Miz defeated Jeff Hardy to retain the Intercontinental Championship. The Miz Taraj get involved, get beaten up by Matt. They all get ejected. Bo Dallas's chain. I just want your opinions.
I love it. I love it. One of my favorite accounts on Twitter, TDE Total Divas Eps, who does amazing comedy and GIFs. this one. Wouldn't it be really awesome if they did a storyline where Bo Dallas is spending all of his Miztourage cash on crazy jackets and chains and like $700 sunglasses and runs out of money, and he needs to seek financial help from IRS? I think that's the greatest idea they could ever do. It would be so great. I listen. Bo Dallas has some really shitty beliefs.
He's gonna have to bail his brother out for murdering rabbits or something soon. Sounds like it.
But damn it, I cannot quit. I wish I could quit you, Bo Dallas. I don't know how to do it. Like the Miztourage saying Jeff Hardy and Matt could join them, and then Matt and saying no, and then them coming back. Like Bo Dallas and all those little vignettes over the weekend was just so great in the background, and he's so good. And I wish he wasn't what he was in real life. But kayfabe, I love the guy. Yeah.
This match was not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. This is the second time recently that Hardy's Whisper in the Wind has been so slow that his opponents had to wait on him, and that's sad to see. That's really sad to see. That hop from the second rope to the top rope doesn't have the acceleration that it once did. Yeah. I thought Miz's counter of Jeff Hardy's double leg drop was really cool. Like, I've never seen anybody counter that.
Yep.
Maybe I've just missed it. I probably missed a lot of his TNA stuff, but really clever stuff that came out of that. Jeff looked like a guy who bumped on the outside of the ring the way that he did virtually all this match, and it had caught up to him, I think.
Yeah.
One production note, there was a camera angle after the Twist of Fate kick out that we don't see a lot. It was like this outside the ring, but sort of close up from inside to out thing. I liked it. Anything a little bit different, I liked. When a few years ago when they debuted NXT, the game show version, I loved the different angles they would use to make it feel different. Same with ECW, WWE ECW. Thought that was always good. So I'm always down for them just making it feel a little bit different. Keeping your standards, what they perceive as high, but changing up a little bit. Miz wins. Crowd was into it, but not my cup of tea. But what'd you think, Alex?
I really liked it, actually, mostly because it allowed The Miz to be smart. The Miz should be a heel often, over and over and over again. Like you said, he countered the double leg drop. He countered that weird
drop kick
thing in the corner that no one ever counters either. He grabbed the rope.
All the time in the world to counter, never do.
Right, exactly. He grabbed the rope to break up a pinfall. And you can call this cheating. I don't think it was. When Maurice touched his hand to let him know the Swanton was coming and he rolled out of the way, that was all the help he got from Maurice the entire match. Wasn't it? I mean, I don't remember seeing any other thing. And
he got some help from the Miztourage, but not anymore from Maurice.
But then they left. And once they were gone, it was basically just him and Jeff Hardy. And he countered a Twist of Fate beautifully into the skull-crushing finale and got a clean victory. When was the last time they let The Miz get a clean, smart victory?
Well, kind of clean. I mean, Jeff Hardy got knocked down from the Swanton Bomb.
Sure. But, I mean, like, that's rolling out of the way is something that baby faces do all the time. Like, it's
no. When one of the Miztourage yanked him off the top rope.
Yeah. Well, but the Miztourage, that was earlier in the match. I'm talking about like the last 5 minutes. It was just him and his wits, and I like that as the Miz being around for that long. He should know little things that allow him to get crafty victories. Let him be the crafty heel as opposed to the cowardly heel. He can be crafty with cowardly tendencies, but I really like him getting a victory that was using his brain rather than a perfume bottle or whatever he used to beat Dolph Ziggler all those times last year. Like this was a cool thing for me.
I'd love to hear from you guys on the live discussion over at Fightful.com or the forum about, like, do you consider this a clean victory? Because that's an interesting take, because he did get help earlier in the match. The Swanton Bomb broken up, but the pinfall and everything, that was virtually clean. That being said, Alex, if me and you fight in a cage and your daughter runs in, and kicks me right in the nose, and then 10 minutes later you pin me, I'm going to say, hey, but remember when your daughter rolled in the ring with her impressive dexterity for less than a year old and kicked me in the nose.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear what people think about that. Fightful.com, head over to those forums. Now, I completely agree with you in regards to The Miz. I think that should be the point of his heat, is that you hate how smart and how cunning he is.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that gets him babyface reaction, but sometimes the guy gets that anyway.
Right. Yeah. No.
Sometimes the guy just gets that anyway, because at some point, Alex, after what, it's been a decade, he's been in the WWE.
Yeah.
You know, besides the whole guest thing, the guest host or whatever.
Right.
But when he's won Money in the Bank and won a couple Slammy Awards, and he's a 6-time tag team champion, 7-time Intercontinental champion, 2-time U.S. champion, WrestleMania main eventer, WWE champion. At some point, you got to give up the he's not very good thing.
Right. Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's like, come on now.
I think the overwhelming opinion about The Miz is that he's really, really good at what he does. You know what I mean? And sometimes, even if he's a bad guy, I'm still going to cheer for the guy because he's so good at being what he is. Like on the mic, when he's just flowing and just going off at people about how they don't respect the Intercontinental title, because guess what? They don't. Like, I believe all of the stuff that he does. Like, and in the ring, he's credible as a wrestler, and he should have smart ways of getting out of things. And that's a really cool, because you want the guy who is facing to beat him, but damn it, he just countered that thing that you wanted him to see. Like, that's just the way that he should wrestle. And I hope this is a change for him from just losing from winning via interference all the time to occasionally, at least occasionally, winning via craftiness.
And what a career resurgence, because like, when was it? Like, was it 2013 or so? I can't remember, when he was on like Main Event all the time and struggling as a baby face. He just ain't a baby face. He's just not it. And great to see how he's turned things around. Enzo Amore, Grand Metalik, and Cedric Alexander defeated Tony Nese, Drew Gulak, and Noam Dar. Enzo's still super over.
He still is
super over.
Yeah. It was interesting because they have him come out, and it's like 5 minutes of him talking, including, oh, by the way, these are the other two guys who are in this match with me. I called one of them Pepper Jack Cheese because that's what I can come up with. I also call this one Cedric the Entertainer Alexander the Great because that took me 3 seconds. Like, okay, fine. But that's cool. That's his character. I'm fine with that being this thing. Like, he doesn't.
Going to be honest, I fast forwarded through that as I was catching up, but I'm going to take your word for it. That's exactly what he said, and I hope it is.
Yeah, he's like I called this one Queso Picante, Pepper Jack Cheese, like because that's not at all reductive.
Did he really call him Picante?
Yeah, Queso Picante.
Oh, he meant Metalik, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh no.
He called Grand Metalik Queso Picante. I call him Pepper Jack Cheese.
But wait a second. Was Pace Picante the one that was made in New York City?
Yeah, I believe it was.
Or was that the one that wasn't made in New York City?
That's right. Yeah, that was the one that wasn't. So that's fine. That's okay.
They should beefing then.
I know.
What the hell is up with this?
I don't know. They should be beefing over.
That's a slow build. That's the slow build, Alex.
Slow build for the feud.
This is
between Grand Metalik.
This is the breadcrumb being dropped. Yeah. He's going to pull off his mask and reveal that all along that he was setting up, he was buttering up the New Yorker.
Yeah. I do like that he calls Tony Nese an out-of-work Chippendale dancer, because that's basically what he looks like. They're pushing this Captain Underpants nickname for Drew Gulak, and it's only funny because Drew Gulak is incensed anytime he gets called that. It's basically like calling Marty McFly chicken. Like he's nobody calls me Captain Underpants. So that's fun. And then they have the same basic 6-man tag match that they had last week on 205 Live. They figured nobody watched it then, so we'll just have it now.
Decent stuff. Which, I mean, I like the storyline of the transition period for Enzo trying to learn the cruiserweight style. I think that's really cool. He got back suplexed into a turnbuckle by Tony Nese. Cedric looked awesome. I thought that the opening series between he and Nese is the type of action that the Raw cruiserweight matches need to show that they're a little bit different. Enzo winning by cheating was a good touch. Later, Neville tells the three they'll be in a 5-way qualifying match tomorrow night. Neville played his role perfectly in the backstage. He's so good at that. Good. You know what? I enjoyed it because I didn't get to watch 205 Live last week. First week in a while. I missed it. I've actually got to catch up tomorrow before I do the Holy Smokes MMA podcast, 3 p.m., guys. Check that out. Bray and Balor. What is Bray even saying anymore?
This was
did he used to fight rabbits? Did he kill Adam Rose's bunny? Why should I care about this? Why should anybody care about this?
This was honestly one of the most interesting promos he's done in a while because it was a little different. It reminded me of his old stuff he used to do in like FCW, where he told the story about how his father used to beat him. So one day I killed my dad, and it was just this weird, stories of stuff. This was different.
Rowan wanted to get away from him all the time if he's like fighting farm animals and sheep and shit. Like, why would he want to hang around?
He said that he used to hunt rabbits with a bow and arrow, and then it got too easy, so he killed them with his bare hands. Which, I mean, you got to be fast in order to catch a rabbit, and then once you do, that's kind of brutal, dude. He's strangling him. That's
how serial killers start.
That's not good. I do like that he's like, you beat me when you were the demon. Let's see if you could beat me when you're just regular leather jacket guy. Which is like, okay, fine. But now when Finn Balor beats him as just regular leather jacket guy, can we have both these guys move on to something else?
Yeah, I hope so. We have what I listed as a possible top contender match, and it ended up being one. Emma and Nia Jax defeated Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks. Emma has a new theme again. What did you think of it?
Better than last week's.
Doesn't take much.
Last week's was one of the worst I've ever heard.
You could fart along to the song Cheerleader, and it would have been better than last week's.
It was so generically like empowerment, but sensual 1994. It was just bad.
CFOs wiped their hands of it real quick.
Yeah, they said, we had nothing to do with this. Immediately. But this one was fine, but there was nothing wrong with her old evil Emma music. It was really great. It incorporated her old bubbly Emma sounded to that too. Like, it was really cool that on several levels. I don't know why they got rid of it to only do like one terrible thing last week and one meh thing this week. Just go back to what it was.
My first note was, like, I had no idea how the company has fumbled on Emma because she's a versatile performer. She's shown that she can work as a babyface when not put with Santino Marella. She's shown that she can work as a heel. She's especially shown that she can do either of them in NXT. The main roster has been the issue, although she ran into injury problems that slowed that down more than anything. Her being in this match, getting screen time with a consistent character like this is a giant step forward and a good one, because I think that she does this character very, very well. Like, her voice, and when she says some of these things, like about her social media, is enough that you know that she's pleasing herself, but she really doesn't care what you think about it. Just like somebody really would be if they had their face stuck in their phone at all times. I think she plays it very well.
Yeah, no, I really do. I like it too. I'm all here. I'm here for Emma getting real chances on the main roster.
This match, it was very weird and awkward to see Alexa Bliss getting like almost a hot tag. And then when she did, she like yanks Emma by her hair. And it's like, well, not the babyface hot tag.
No.
I thought the star of this match was Nia Jax. I thought this was some of the best work she's ever done. The tilt-a-whirl DDT countered into a Samoa drop was really, really good. She looked smooth. She looked quick-witted. Like, there were little things like the sunset flip where she swatted away the hands and tried to do basically the hip drop. I've never seen her react that fast, work so smooth. Very impressed with Nia Jax this week. And then after Emma steals the pin, she hits Emma with the old Matt Jackson Flip Gordon being the elite. Where do you think you're going? Brings her back, hits her. Fatal 4-way. I'm down. Especially a fatal 4-way with these four, because we've never really seen Emma thrown into this.
Yeah, fresh matchup. I'm totally down for it. But we need to talk about the moment in this match when Alexa Bliss slapped Nia Jax, and Nia Jax yelled at Alexa, and Alexa screamed and ran away. And then she grabbed her and brought her into a short arm clothesline. I've like the GIF. I've posted a couple of them on my timeline. If you missed it, go find my Twitter. My God, it just gets better every time you look at it. I need a one-on-one program between these two, because these two are great friends in real life and can come up with real fun stuff to do like this in a match that plays up how Alexa Bliss is super tiny and Nia Jax is super big, and you could do a lot of fun stuff like this. But yeah, this match, No Mercy, I am really intrigued for, because honestly, I could see any four of these women taking the title. Emma, because she could be a transitional champ to somebody else, but because I don't think they're going to give her a real shot at it. If they did, I'd love it, but I don't think they are. And anything else is possible. But I really love the idea of a fresh matchup. Some people are like, why can't the women just have straight up one-on-one matches? Like, well, okay, fine, but they're not going to do several women's programs because it's the WWE.
Hey, either you want equality or not. The women deserve the opportunity to get put in shitty gimmick matches just as much as the men do.
True. But I'm really intrigued to see where this goes. I loved this match. I'm interested in seeing what they're going to do with the next couple of weeks on Raw to prepare for the pay-per-view. And yeah, I'm so happy for Emma. Finally, she gets a title shot. Like, it's great.
Also, on the Mae Young Classic today, they had a bit of a bonus scene. Basically, they threw it out on WWE's Twitter. Ronda Rousey, Jessamine Duke, Marina Shafir met up with Becky Lynch, Bayley. This is pre-injury, and Charlotte. Ronda Rousey challenged the three of them, so seems like full steam ahead.
Looks like we're doing that.
Yeah, boys at Fightful.com broke the news that Ronda Rousey was training to be a pro wrestler.
Yep.
Diggity darn. One of many stories that boys have broken in their day. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose defeated the Good Brothers. This is your standard WWE tag match. It starts fast, gets slow, has a lot of exaggerated selling, and I need to tag you, then gets hot. Cesaro and Sheamus flub interference, end up getting hit. Rollins and Ambrose win. My only note was Rollins' blockbuster looks really awesome, and then after the match, the Good Brothers jumped Cesaro and Sheamus, and I started to hear some Too Sweet chants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about that?
Yeah. Listen, they could very easily make the Good Brothers, because that's what their name is now, into this really fun tweener tag team. Like, they're really funny. All the shit they do on Southpaw Regional Wrestling is off the charts hilarious. These guys have real talent, and you can do a lot with these guys. And if you allow them to just be those guys who don't care who they fight and don't care if they win or lose, because whatever, we're just going to party because we're good brothers, that's cool. They could basically be the new APA. Like, you could basically make these guys, these just dudes who hang out in the back playing poker and smoking cigars and, just beat up anybody you ask them to. That could be fun. We haven't done that in a while. you know, there's something you could do with these guys rather than just being also rans. Give them a real gimmick. I love it.
All for it. Really like their work. They get beaten up. Okay. Main event time. Braun Strowman gets flattened early on in this cage match with Big Show, and they go to commercial. And I'm like, tu vois? Du vois?
Yeah, it was perfect.
You did what?
Yeah.
The guy who like never loses gets flattened, and you go to a commercial.
Well, this
du what?
What they were doing was they had, you know, Braun destroy Big Show, then get laid out with a punch, and apparently neither man got up during the 3-minute commercial break. It was just them selling in the ring for the live audience for 3 minutes, which is just cruel. But I loved Braun's sell of the KO punch. I like that they're keeping that thing sort of protected because Cass got laid out by it a bunch. It's a really cool thing that if Show had anything in him, he might have been able to roll over and get the pinfall, but he didn't because he was beaten up too bad. Braun's great. I mean, we're going to talk about this but like just starting out this thing, Braun is great.
It's amazing. It's amazing how, and a lot of it's his aura because he's so protected and because he's written very well too. That goes so far because in the ring, he ain't the Dynamite Kid, and he doesn't have to be. He is able to take guys like the Big Show, a guy without a program or a direction, and just by them working with him, and let's be honest, Big Show's probably the better worker of the two, make them seem super important in a pointless Raw main event. This is a Haas battle. You know exactly what it is. Like things like Big Show getting crotched got a great reaction. Braun falling off the top rope got a reaction. You damn well better believe a 45-year-old Big Show hitting an elbow drop more accurately than Kairi Sane did on the latest Mae Young tapings got a great reaction. It was awesome. There was the choke slam, kick out, power slam attempt, no dice. This is not rocket science, and it worked. It worked. Strowman superplexed Big Show. Genius spot after what happened last time. Genius of them beforehand to say, we've reinforced the ring, and then show them reinforce the ring.
Yeah.
Beautiful giant man pro wrestling, and the crowd went nuts for it. I went nuts for it. Strowman won.
Yeah, this was everything it needed to be. Like there was great of them to go back into a video package, reminding everyone of that amazing last man standing match. I think that's what it was. I'm not sure. It was just this great match that ended with a jam ring breaking and John Cone nearly dying when he fell out of it. These guys have a history now. So up until the day Big Show retires, you can say if you have nothing else for Braun Strowman to do, or like tonight, Brock Lesnar, I guess, was hosting a Labor Day barbecue and couldn't make it. You can have Braun do something, which is great because this you say Braun Strowman versus Big Show, and I am tuning in. These guys have got this. They've got a track record now. I mean, I don't know. Like,
it's crazy.
Big Show is having some of the best matches of his career in what he has said is the last year of his career against a dude who's been in the WWE for just 2 years. And
yeah, they put out Big Show's DVD about 9 years too early.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I remember right after they put that out, he had some what I thought were outstanding matches with Mark Henry too. Like, yeah, I thought that was a badass feud. And now he's having. It's so funny. He's having these great matches, not against the guy whose style is a contrast, which a guy Big Show's size, you would usually assume that's how it would be. No. Throw him in there with a guy with the same style as him. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people will say, well, what about the Kane matches? What about the Undertaker matches? They're a little different than a Mark Henry or a Braun Strowman. We're talking like raw power out of those three guys. So
yeah. This was excellent. The top rope elbow drop, like, people were going nuts in the arena for it. This has got to be the greatest thing that's ever happened in the city of Omaha, Nebraska. I'm just going to go ahead and say
if Big Show ever does a podcast regularly, it might become the biggest podcast in
it could
wrestling. As for as long as he's been around and all that he's seen, all that he's been a part of, the ups and the downs, like from working with Floyd Mayweather to working a WrestleMania main event to being sent to OVW to his WCW run. The man's been through a lot of stuff, and he's always been fairly respected, at least over the past decade or so backstage. So looking forward to that. A good Raw, I thought. Really fun episode of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, we didn't even mention that.
Go ahead.
After the match,
Braun
Strowman had a great promo about how this is your future, Brock Lesnar. Like, that's great. I just love his voice so much. It's the opposite of the Nia Jax voice, where like you actually look at Braun Strowman and you think, oh, man, what does that guy sound like? And he actually sounds like what he's supposed to sound like, unlike Nia Jax. He's fantastic. And then he picks up Big Show and puts him through the damn wall of the cage. Like, it's everything that this thing should have been. It's perfect.
The world tearing shit up tour continues.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Also, glad to see Ric Flair back and actually cutting promos on Twitter. What a carny this guy is. To get on Twitter with, like, needles still in him and shit and plug his merch store.
Yeah.
This guy,
Ric Flair, my God.
Very happy to see that. Hey, guys, I released the full taping from the List and Your Boy of J.J. Dillon. Speaking of Ric Flair, went in the Hall of Fame with the man. That's over at FightfulPods.com. I'm going to do that. There are some weekends where I just can't do Fightful Books It or members-only shows, so I'll release one of those tapings. We've got them with Riddle, Russo, J.J. Dillon, all kinds of people. So those will be coming out, too. Of course, you go to Fightful Pods for all your podcast needs. And tune in tomorrow for the Holy Smokes MMA podcast. We got Elias Theodorou joining us on the show, our flagship MMA program. And, of course, tomorrow night after SmackDown, we're coming at you live. Wednesday for the List and Your Boy. Hey, guys, if you all want to show support to Fightful.com, head over to ProWrestlingTees.com/Fightful. Be sure to share our stories on social media, especially Reddit. That stuff really helps for a growing site. And come over to Fightful.com and use our forums. I want to interact with you. Alex wants to interact with you. We want to see more and more comments in those live discussions. Enjoy the shows. Talk to people about the shows. I know some of you aren't Twitter people, so our live discussion boards and our forums are a great way to just interact and everything on Fightful.com. But, yeah, guys, that Fightful Pods, I love that you all have been enjoying that too. All of our podcasts in one place, including our archive shows with Helms, Riddle, Russo, lots of stuff over there. And we've got a lot of cool new additions coming to the site too. So plenty of stuff coming there. If you all haven't checked out the List and Your Boy on Wednesdays, you're missing out. It's the only podcast where you can hear from the founder of Fightful.com, or really the founder of any site, and the guys that he picked to run the wrestling website for him. So definitely check that out. Alex, where can they find you on the Twitter machine?
You can find me at Pawlowski the Fourth with a numeral 4 in there where the 4 should be.
I'm hoping tonight I can get my office rearranged. I just like to switch things up a little bit. I like to freshen it up.
All right.
Personally, I wish all that shit wasn't in the background. But hey.
I mean, it's nice that you have that luxury. Personally, I'm in a 8 by 10 foot cell in this jail, so I don't really have a lot of room to maneuver.
Oh, boy. Remember, guys, if you all want any questions answered, head over to Fightful.com on our live discussions of these podcasts or the forums. We'll get those submitted. Hey, if you all want to submit some for the List and Your Boy this Wednesday, have at it. We love to talk about the behind the scenes of Fightful.com on that. We'd love to give you a look behind the curtain. More of an entertainment program than a full-on wrestling program. But I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. Also, for sharing all the stuff that you do. We love that. We love interacting with you all, and we want to really accelerate that. So you'll hear me pushing that a bunch pretty soon, guys. Follow me on Twitter at Sean Ross Sapp. Follow us cross-platform everywhere at Fightful Online. Till next time, guys, we're out.